Hello Avengers, it's me, Svenny McG, and I'm here to have a 2018 recap of wins and losses. Today we're going to talk about video games, action figures, comic books, all sorts of greatness. But we're also going to take some time to reflect on some of the things we lost this year. So, without any further ado, let's take a look. First and foremost, let's go ahead and address the loss of Stan Lee this year. Now, in case you've been living under a rock, Stan was one of the great creators at Marvel Comics and went on to co-create such things as the Great Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, the Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Thor, Iron Man. Most of the Marvel Universe was created or co-created by Stan Lee. Stan went on to become the president of the company and eventually resigned from the position to take on a role back in the creatives, where he was most familiar with and where he was happiest. And that should be a good lesson to you as well. Now, I had the good fortune of meeting Stan very briefly back in 2016. So I'm not going to go ahead and make this as if it was a great personal loss to me, but it is. It is a big loss to me. Stan really influenced who I am, what I enjoy in life. A testament to me was when Stan passed, the amount of people that actually reached out to me personally through social media or text messages or phone calls to say, "Hey, did you hear Stan passed?" And the following day when I showed up to work, the very first person I encountered in the hallways on my way to my office walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Hey, sorry to hear about Stan." So Stan did have a big impact in my life, and at 94 years young, it can't be said that he didn't live a wonderful, marvelous life, but we all lost a little something there with Stan's passing. Now, one of the great wins for 2018 was the formation of Svenny McG. Now, the origin story here actually kind of comes from another loss. You see, I picked up a big collection of video games off of someone locally, and during that time they told me that the collection was actually for sale because of a passing of a family member. So when I was going through the games and I was starting to notice a trend, there was a couple that seemed like they were either unopened or completely in the cellophane. And as a collector of many video games, it kind of makes you wonder after a while, what are we doing here? We're just building up this big mass, and we're going to have all these video games and have this crazy backlog and spend all this money, and then for what? And what does it leave? And when I thought about the intent of this poor young man who had all these games and all this desire to play, and ultimately it went unfulfilled, that's when I kind of took a step back to really assess what I was doing with this collection. So sorry to get all serious here, but it actually started to stem some things within me. So I started a conversation with the Sault Ste. Marie Library, and that's where back in fall of 2017 we had a talk about starting something in January of 2018, and it actually was mildly delayed till February, but we still ran 3 great months, and I was able to put on at the Sault Public Library. We've always had a great turnout. We always get anywhere between 20 and 30 people. I'm so thankful to have you guys there, and so long as you guys are still able to come, I'm very excited to announce that the library's asked me to come back again in January. We're going to run January, February, March. Keep an eye on my Facebook page, keep an eye on the library, contact them. They're going to be doing some advertising for it soon, and the nights will be cemented very shortly and released to the public. But we are going to go ahead with more retro video game nights. Themes have been chosen, and I'm very happy to be able to announce that to you, and so excited to get to see you guys in the near future. Another great win for the year was going to Sudbury's Northern Game Expo. and getting to meet the hosts, Brad and Michael. These guys are fantastic. Really, you couldn't pick better people for the job. And given that they were able to start this from the ground up and really get it going, bravo, guys. You guys are really starting something. I know we've been able to talk on the side a little bit, so I'm very excited to see what you guys are bringing into the future. If you were interested in seeing any of the stuff, follow their sites. They have some Facebook pages for Northern Game Expo and Northern Gaming events. And also, check out my YouTube video where I get to speak with Brad at this year's convention, the 2018 convention. And yeah, get to pick his brain about what makes the convention work and what it's all about. Another big win for the year at the Sudbury's Northern Game Expo was getting to meet Sid Bolton. Now, if you've seen my other video, you've got to see my interview with Sid, meeting him for the very first time. Now, prior to that meeting though, Sid and I had an online conversation going for a little while, and that was actually the first time we got to meet, but we did speak for quite a while. I'd like to pick his brain about his collection, what makes it work, things that he was doing at the PC Museum, and just getting a chance to talk to Canada's top collector. Sid is always very personable and was just a heck of a guy. Unfortunately, that also brings up one of 2018's big losses. One of the few things that brought me to tears this year was to learn of the passing of Sid Bolton. Sid passed earlier this year, unfortunately just a couple months after I got to meet him for the first time. It's been really hard on his wife. It's been hard on the community. Sid was just a heck of a guy. What he was doing with the PC Museum was fantastic. Always one of Brantford's favorite attractions to go to. He was looking to expand. Sid was working on other projects. Always had something on the go. And just one of the nicest, genuine people you've ever got to speak to. Getting a chance to speak to him in Sudbury, walking up to him, shaking his hand, felt like meeting an old friend. I jokingly said, Sid, I'm really, really sorry for, bothering you all the time online, and just so graciously, Sid just makes you feel at home. Just not a problem, like never, just reach out to me whenever. A really good man, really good spirit. Now at the convention, Sid had some merchandise for sale. He had some games, some magazines, calendars, mugs. I effectively bought all of it from Sid. I was so excited to meet him, and it was all fantastic wares. But one of the things I ended up picking up from Sid was this book here. You can find this on Amazon. Collecting for Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. Sid was a massive fan of Dragon's Lair. And basically the book goes through all the different formats that you can play Dragon's Lair on. All the different systems. Again, gets right into the platform, the publisher, the media, if it's a download, if it's on CD, if it's on cartridge. Being able to pick up this book though and getting Sid to sign it again here. For Adam, so great to meet a kindred spirit. I've got your back, Sid Bolton. I can't tell you what this means to me to be able to get this. Sid, we miss you. Thank you for everything that you've left us with, all the gifts that you've left us with. You certainly made the community a much better place. Now, another win for 2018 was the fantastic people at Vintage Games and Junk, Mike and Beth, putting on the Steel City Nerdcon, initially in August hosting the mini-con, and then going ahead and actually making an event, having over 30 vendors, putting on a game tournament, lots of contests, lots of prizes, and ultimately hosting a very fantastic, successful event here in Sault Ste. Marie. Thank you guys. You guys are the greatest. There's so much love for you guys. You guys are just doing fantastic work here in the Soo. You've already gone ahead and booked for next year. New venue, looking to expand. Again, other friends, other vendors, everybody's been very helpful. It's been a knockout, and very excited to see what you guys do in 2019. Happy to help any which way I can. Thank you guys. I've been hoping for something like this in my hometown forever. So no matter which way, shape, or form, from buying a ticket to volunteering, anything I can do, thank you guys. You guys are doing awesome work. If you want to see anything regarding the mini-con or the actual event itself, I have videos for those that I'll post below as well. Finally, for my major personal losses here, I lost a good friend in my childhood friend, Mark. Mark and I used to love playing games like rock and roll racing. Growing up, I had an NES, Mark had the Super Nintendo. We used to play Captain Skyhawk, rock and roll racing, Top Gear 2, Hit the Ice, just a fantastic amount of games. Mark always spoke highly of going through Chrono Trigger, and you know, we played everything together. We played. Mark really excelled at basketball. We used to play road hockey, ice hockey. We just had the best childhood growing up. Mark shaped a lot of who I am today, and unfortunately he passed earlier this year. I cannot stress how much he will be missed. And just as the year comes to a close here in 2018, I encourage you, if there's anyone you're looking to speak to that you haven't in a while, make sure you pick up the phone or send that message. Mark and I had kind of lost touch over the years. Every once in a while, sending a nice note just to say, thinking of you and hope everything's going well. But unfortunately, always that assumption that we will catch up later. We will make the time. I'll see you again. I'm collecting all these fantastic games. I can't wait to sit down and play with you again sometime. And unfortunately, I won't get the chance to do that. In today's day and age, with good long distance plans, the internet, voice, video talking, there really is no excuse. So contact that person. Make sure you get ahead of it and let them know that you're thinking of them. I miss you, Mark. Finally here, let's talk about some of the major pickups I did this year, from video games, action figures, or comic books. And we'll have a look. This was a big year for me, in the year of classic computers. And this really seems to be a big year in the year of Commodore for me. So let's have a look. This Commodore 64 with the video monitor. This Commodore 1541 floppy disk drive works. This beautiful stack of 5 1/4 floppies. Wheel of Fortune, Blue Max, Triple Crown, and a bunch of other just programs in here. All of this software I picked up from Sid Bolton for a very cheap price. This beautiful 2-door Commodore filing cabinet. The box for the beautiful Commodore 64. The Commodore cassette unit. Also, a Commodore modem. The Commodore VIC-20, complete in styrofoam. And also the C64 mini console. Looking forward to getting into this, applying the firmware update and loading in some extra ROMs beyond the 64 that comes with the unit. This Apple iMac G3 in beautiful Bondi blue. This old PC I picked up for $2 at a garage sale. It runs Windows XP and currently runs most of my old software that allows for my son to play, including this Batman Activity Center, which he's very fond of. Got this Atari 800 XL. This ColecoVision roller controller. Step 2, get an actual ColecoVision. A Telstar Marksman Pong unit. This Micro Versus System Donkey Kong Hockey. These Tandy Radio Shack TRS 80s. This is a Coco 1. And this is a Coco 3. Some fine edutainment software. We have these fine selections here for the Atari computers, followed by these guys here, the TRS-80. A Magnavox Odyssey 2. My first introduction to this system. Very excited to have this. Some Magnavox Odyssey 2 games. The classic Philips Video Pack 8, Casey Munchin, and even Quest for the Rings. The NES Classic Edition, followed by the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. A boxed Coleco Gemini. This is effectively a clone console of the Atari 2600 made by Coleco. This year I was able to acquire a boxed Atari 2600 or Atari VCS, and also from the same seller, this boxed Atari 7800. This PlayStation VR set for the PlayStation 4. I don't even know if I'm actually recording right now. This Nintendo Entertainment System control deck set was kindly donated to me by Steve P. These awesome Batman and Superman sets. Able to finally get my first Alfred. Some fun sets here in these awesome Justice League action figures. Whoa, these dastardly criminals. That was a terrible Adam West. But where else can you find figures like King Tut and Bookworm? These great comics here, signed by the amazing Dirk Manning. Hope here, also signed by the wonderful Kaylin Smith. This absolutely breathtaking print by Will Eisner Award Hall of Fame member Jim Steranko. Take all that in. Now, I had the very good fortune of talking with Mr. Steranko at the Cherry Capital Con this year in Traverse City. I am very sad to say I did not take a picture to commemorate the moment with Mr. Steranko. I just didn't feel it. The vibe wasn't there. He was just such a lovely man. We had a nice talk. I didn't want to sully it with, "Can I get a picture, please?" But boy, talk about talking with a legend. And such a nice, humble man, too. As for the coming year, like I said, I'm very excited to be back at the library. We're going to be going ahead with the gaming there. I'm hoping to get a better cycle here. I will make that my 2019 resolution here. I'm going to try and get more consistent here on YouTube. I've been very active on Instagram, trying to take a different picture of something every day and updating there. So go ahead and follow me there as well. Follow the Facebook page, check it out. I'm on Twitter. Message me if there's something you'd like to see. I would always love to hear back from you guys as well. So there you have it. There's some of the things from 2018. Some of the wins, some of the losses. What does it all mean? Grand scheme of things, don't worry about the items. Everybody loves watching a pickup video. I myself do as well. And I'm not going to say I won't make any going forward. But I am going to say focus on what's important in your life. It can't just all be the games. It can't. Like I said, nobody can replace any of those three people. I can go out and pick up a new Mario tomorrow, but no one's going to replace those people that impact your life. So again, if you're going to do anything today, it's going to be picking up the phone or sending a message to someone you care about. Always be good to someone. Always take care. Everything else will sort itself out afterwards. I promise you that. As always, take care. Be good to each other. Blessings to you this year. Bye now.